This is not only the easiest, but it's the best way to smoke pork belly. Let me show you what to do. For our smoked pork belly today, we're going to be starting with about a 5-pound pork belly. This has the skin already taken off, but it still does have the fat on the bottom. Now you can definitely season this up and smoke it as it is, but I'm a little bit anal, so I'm going to trim this up and I'm going to square it up just a little bit. Don't think that we're going to throw any of the pieces away that we trim. We'll definitely throw those on the smoker and experiment with some flavor. So over here, I'm seeing a real thin side that I definitely don't think is going to cook at the same rate as the rest of my pork belly. So I'm just going to take one pretty good little slice here. And I'm just going to come to this front side and do the same exact thing. Last but not least, I'm just going to take a tad bit off the front. I think I said the front on the other piece as well, but this is actually the front in relation to what I'm looking at. And this right here is absolutely perfect. So like I mentioned a second ago, now I don't have any really thin pieces off on the edges. Those other pieces are going to go great for just experimenting, like I said. And this is going to cook really even, and we're going to get some really nice slices out of this. Now, I typically do not use yellow mustard as a binder, but today I just felt like doing something a little bit different. So we're going to throw a little bit of yellow mustard over top. Again, this is completely optional. Please do not feel like you have to do it. Experiment with different flavors. I've been doing a little bit of mayonnaise. Maybe some mayonnaise and sriracha would be great. I like Worcestershire sauce. This doesn't really add a flavor, but some people do say that they notice a difference on their overall cook. So we'll see. I've got both sides rubbed up with a mustard binder. Now I'm just going to go over top with my trifecta. This is a really good multi-purpose blend. Has a little bit of sweet, has a little bit of savory, has plenty of black pepper. And I just want a really nice coating. Pat that in. If you guys come in close, you can see that black pepper that I'm talking about. I actually think that's one of the nicest things about barbecue is seeing that black pepper pop come through. As with every single piece of meat that we season, want to make sure to get the sides. And now we're just going to flip this over and do the same exact thing to the top side. So I always season my presentation side second because this is what is going to go upward the whole time. The fat on the bottom will protect this pork belly, especially because we are going to be using the Weber Smokey Mountain. A lot of that heat does come from the bottom. And this pork belly is completely seasoned and ready to go. Today on our smoked pork belly, we're going to be using our Weber Smokey Mountain with some Royal Oak lump charcoal. I have a water pan here right in the middle of my Weber Smokey Mountain just to control the grease. With this pork being so fatty, we do not want it to get out of control and we do not want there to be any flare-ups and for this to get too hot. We're outside and I've got my Weber Smokey Mountain running right at 300 degrees. You guys have seen me set this up plenty of times, so I didn't feel like it was necessary today. We're going to throw our pork belly right onto the grate. And I told you guys we're not throwing those extra pieces away, so we're going to put those right here. We're experimenting with a spicy maple butter seasoning here. So we're going to check this in 45 minutes. We'll see where the color's at. I've noticed, especially when I'm running on my Weber Smokey Mountain, any ribs or pork colors up really quickly and you want to get to wrapping. So I'm assuming within an hour, hour and a half at the most, we'll be wrapping this pork. It's been right at an hour on our smoked pork belly, so we want to take a look at this together, see if the color is right where we want it, and if it's time to wrap. Now, I'm going to try and be really quick here because this Weber Smokey Mountain can definitely get out of control if there's too much oxygen that goes in there, but this is looking perfect. You guys can see that if I touch this, none of the rub is coming off. It's only been about an hour, and we're going to get this wrapped up to preserve that color. I can still see that black pepper coming through. Now is the perfect time. We're inside and we have one stick of Kerrygold butter that I just cut into some pads here and we put down around in the shape of what our pork belly is. We'll go ahead and put our pork belly right over top. Make sure not to lose any of them beautiful juices. And this is something that I do with my competition meats a lot. I'll start the process of wrapping this up because when I pour in my liquid, I want to make sure that I don't lose any. So from the top, we'll roll this down a little bit. Then we'll fold this up and secure it really nicely. And what that does is it creates a pocket over here where I can pour some liquids in and I know that it's not going to come out the other side. Now at this point, you guys can use whatever liquid you want. I often use chicken broth. Sometimes we'll use maple syrup. Really use whatever you want here. Today I'm choosing this apple soda. I use it a lot when it comes to pork and ribs. It truly is just delicious. So I don't really have a set amount that I want to put in here, but I do want to make sure that once I tilt this, I've got full coverage on the bottom of that pork belly. And that right there looks like it's going to be perfect. So if you guys look, my pork belly is sitting flat and even. The liquid's not going everywhere. It's not too much. It's just on the bottom side there. Those natural pork renderings along with that flavor and the butter is just going to make for perfection. Last but not least, I'm going to put my Temp Spike Pro right in the middle. And I'm putting this in for a guideline on our temperatures. So temperature, like I just said, is a great guideline, but we need to make sure that this is going to probe tender and feel exactly the way we want. So today we are deciding to cut this into slices. I definitely don't want it as far as I would a pork belly burnt end, because in a situation like that, I feel like you really want to squish that and you want to have it completely fall apart, melt in your mouth. With this, we want a little more integrity. We're shooting around that 203 and 205 mark, but we got to make sure it feels good in the end. And this is going to go straight back onto the Weber Smokey Mountain, right in the middle over this water pan. And we're just going to monitor temps until this is completely done. Just hold your temps steady at 300 degrees and you should be perfectly fine. Exactly 2 hours later, my temp spike is telling me that this pork belly is at 203 degrees. We want to quickly open the foil, probe it for tenderness, make sure everything is good to go, and then we can take it off. We want to try and be as quick as possible just to make sure that we don't get it too hot inside this Weber Smokey Mountain. I'm not even worried about a number here. I'm just looking for probe tenderness. Everything looks really good. You can see we retained that color. Everything is nice and bubbly down here, so I know I'm getting a lot of good flavor. This is feeling really good. Let's get it off and get it inside. After a 1 hour rest, it's time to get some sauce and glaze on our pork belly. Today we decided to do that. If you guys do not want to do that, that's completely fine. At this point, you'd want to rest it for an hour and you could start slicing it up. I'm going to take advantage of all that great au jus that I have in the bottom of this foil. We're going to add it back on top of this pork belly, put some sauce on, and then let it tack up on the smoker. I urge you guys to get a really good liquid wrap that you enjoy the flavor of. That way you can enjoy this pork belly just a little bit more. That butter flavor, this soda, and of course, all of those natural pork renderings are just going to make for some of the best bites that you've ever had. If you guys don't live in Texas and you're not able to find the exact apple soda I used, man, I'm sure any apple soda or any soda that you like would be really good here. Now I'm gonna go over top with my favorite barbecue sauce. This is Killer Hogs, the barbecue sauce. Now we wanna make sure to put a really light layer here. I'm not looking to drown this in sauce. We just want a little bit of color, and we just want a little bit of sauce flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint this in. I've got a little silicone brush here. Not much at all, a little goes a long way. It is gonna add a nice, beautiful color on this though. And last but not least, we're gonna go over top with our cherry jalapeno glaze. This should be on the market really, really soon. Has a great color. It's gonna add a really, really great shine and look to your barbecue, but it's not just for barbecue. We're gonna show you guys plenty of ways that you can use this glaze. And we're gonna go right back onto the Weber Smokey Mountain, let this tack up for the next 5 to 7 minutes, and then we're done. Right around 7 minutes later, sauce is set, glaze is looking good. Let's go ahead and get our pork belly off. About 3.5 hours total on this cook for our smoked pork belly. And you've probably noticed that some people will do this fat side up. Today we chose to do it fat side down because of the smoker that we were using. That's something to really think about when you're cooking barbecue in general. Offset smokers are typically going to be an arc down fashion style smoker, and that's why you're going to want that fat side up. It's going to protect the meat from all that heat that's coming from the top and actually going toward that smoke collector. But in this situation, we're using a Weber Smokey Mountain, which is very similar to a drum, so a lot of that heat is coming from the bottom of this smoker. That's why I chose to do fat side down. Now with the Weber Smokey Mountain, that dome on top actually does collect heat as well, but I know that if we control those temps around 300 degrees, we should be completely fine. Let's go ahead and slice into our pork belly and see how we did. I'm doing these slices about the size of a brisket slice here today just so we can get that same exact feel. This is not brisket, but we just cooked it like a brisket, and that's exactly why we're gonna slice it the same way as well. We're gonna go ahead and take a slice right out of the middle. And we can see how we did. It looks incredibly juicy from here. If I had to guess, it's gonna fold right over my finger, exactly the way you would want a brisket slice to be. It's clapping for sure. Let's see if it pulls apart with ease, and it definitely does. Let's take a bite. I already know just by the looks of this, this is gonna be incredible. So soft. I hope you can see that in the camera. Hold on, try and get this. So soft, so incredible. The smoke flavor comes through perfectly. Pork belly in general is just so good. A little bit of sauce goes a long way. That cherry pineapple jalapeno on top, the glaze just sets it up as well. But this was smoked perfectly. I definitely think if you guys are gonna be doing pork belly that you slice, you're gonna wanna pull it around that 203, 205 mark, and you're gonna want it like a little bit of a tighter brisket feel. Especially with us pulling it here, you can see how easy that slice bent over my finger. You can see how easy it tore. You can see how easy it was to bite it. This is truly incredible. Just a different way to make smoked pork belly. If you guys want to stick with the burnt ends, by all means do it. But I would recommend giving this a try at least one time. As always, we really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. I'm telling you, you got to try this one. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one. So good. You're going to like this.